you were on Rachael Ray's show a lot from like 2011 to 2015. And I guess you and your family would actually vacation with her?
I know, not my family, just me.
Oh, just you?
Me, yeah. Yeah, just
She would take you on vacation.
She would, this is like what's absolutely wrong with me, is I tell way too much. But like I remember one time, she just called me and she was like, I got to do this thing and I don't want to do it. Will you just come out and do it with me? And I was like, yeah. She was cool as shit, man. So I'd fly out and do segments that she didn't want to do technically. And one time I remember she was like, yo, her people were like, I think her people reached out, but she hit me up and was like, we're going to Mexico. We'll figure something out to do there. And I was like, yeah, because she was fun as shit to hang out with, man. Like, she talks shit. She's a like, you think it's going to be Rachael Ray, like EBO or whatever. But she is like, she's like, what are you drinking? I remember they sent a bottle of wine to us. This is like, if you want to talk about like picturing, like noticing things with celebrities, they sent a bottle of wine to us. And she sipped it, and this is when you realize, oh, she's also like a chef. Sipped it and goes, hold on, this isn't what we ordered. Sip the wine. This isn't what we ordered. And they're like, what? She looks at the bill. She's a regular person. She goes, there's a lot for a bottle of wine. This is not worth that. This is the wrong wine. And the guy's like, no, it's the right wine. She's like, I'm certain this is not the right wine. And then they take it back, and their chef's like, I am so sorry. I can't believe you noticed that. She was like, no, and I'm not pissing and moaning. I just want the wine I ordered. That's not it. And I was like, wow. She's awesome, man. She was a fun person to hang out with.
She's also hot.
I've
always had a thing for Rachael Ray for some reason.
The people, the women I have crushes on, just it's like Rachael Ray, Janine Garofalo. Like Janine Garofalo, where the fuck does that fit into my like? I am, but those are my wife kind of looks like them. I think if you look at it that way.
Was that in Mexico? Because you had mentioned Mexico just now. With the bodyguards?
Yeah.
When you wanted to let the bodyguards fight each other?
Oh shit! I forgot about that. Yeah. So we get two bodyguards. So we get to Mexico City. This is like Mexico City. During all the bad stuff happening. And the first thing they do is they give us bodyguards. And they're like, this guy's gonna live outside your room. He's gonna walk. And by the way, I know bodyguards, right? I know, like in my head, I'm like, this is gonna be fun. So I tell the guy, this is the funny part is I tell him, hey, we're gonna go out party. I speak a little bit of Spanish. We're gonna go party, me and you. And he's like, what? I said, I'm partying. You're coming with me. Let's go. And he's like, okay. So we go out Mexico City, start bar hopping. And I'm like, do you want a beer? And he was like, no. And I was like, okay. And so I'm like, you don't want a beer? And he goes, no. And I said, do you want a cigar? And he's like, no. I go, you want a cigar? And he's like, no. And so then we get back to my room and I realize at the end of the night, I'm laying in bed and I'm like, oh shit, I wasn't using the right word. I was saying, tú tienes, as in, do you have a beer? As opposed to tú quieres. The whole time I'm going, do you have a beer? And he's like, no. And he's like, do you have a cigar? And he's like, no. And Rachel goes, when did you find out? When we got home and I said, you have to go to bed with me. As opposed to you want to go to bed with me. And so Rachel and I start drinking. And we got two bodyguards sitting out of a room. Just lighthearted, goofy Rachel. Just having drinks, talking shit. She's like, let's take our bodyguards to the beach and make them fight. And I was like, oh! And that's when you know you're with someone who's got a sense of humor. Like a sense of humor, just... Let's have them. Do you think they can teach us how to pistol whip somebody? Like, just making you giggle. Rachel's fucking great.
Well, you talked about how women are the only animals on the planet which will approach bigger animals with absolutely no fear.
Yeah.
And you said a story about a Sureño guy telling you how to raise your kids.
When was this? Was this on a special or something?
Not sure. I'm not sure. I went through a lot of stuff this morning.
Yeah, I don't know.
But basically, it was you and your wife were out with your kids, and a guy with tattoos all over his face was like, "You're raising your kids wrong. You have to hit them."
Yeah.
And then your wife got in his face.
My wife and I was like, "What are you doing, jiu-jitsu? Like, what the fuck? When did you learn how to fight? Because you're not fighting this guy. I'm fucking fighting this guy, and I'm gonna lose. Like, what the fuck?" That's happened a lot with my wife. I remember one time we were in line for McDonald's, and the guy's not going, and I'm driving, and my wife just reaches over and hits the horn, and I'm like, "Bitch, what are you doing?" I go, "I don't want to. I'm cool with waiting for the guy. He's in a pickup truck. Guy comes out, turns around and goes, "We got a problem?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you and her. She's got a problem with you, big time. You want to clear with her?" And he just comes up to the hood of my car and he goes, "Oh yeah? Well, put your bitch in check." And I was like, "That's when you have to be like, all right, get in check, bitch. Get in check. This guy's gonna fuck both of us up." Yeah.
You had a whole thing about getting pulled over by a cop.
I've been pulled over by cops nonstop.
Right, but touching their face.
Oh yeah. Oh, so look, this is the beauty of this story. Is the joke is, what cops hate when you touch their faces. That's a great opportunity when you get pulled over and the cop comes up to you and is like, "Do you know why I pulled you over?" Just very calmly take your finger, put it to his lips, and go, "Shh," and then take off. Right? That's the joke. So the joke is real, and it was on an airplane flying to Scotland. I'm sitting next to Patrice O'Neal, and the flight attendant comes up and says, and I've had too much to drink. I'm wasted. She comes up and I go, "Hey, can I get another beer?" And I can already see in her face that she's gonna say no. And I just took my finger to her lips and went, "Shh." And she froze. Like, "Did you just touch my fucking face?" Because I knew she was gonna say no. And then she just walked away. And Patrice was like, "What the fuck did you just do?" And we started talking about that. We're in Scotland. We're sitting at the breakfast table, me and him. And he couldn't get over the fact that I touched her face. And I tried it that night on stage. I said, "You know what flight attendants hate when you touch their faces?" And Patrice is like, "No, man, it's got to be bigger. It's got, like, there's no threat in that. Like, anyone will touch it. Like, it's crazy that you did it." And we laughed at it because you were drunk, but like, it's got to be bigger. And I was like, "Okay." And I was like, "What about a cop?" And he's like, "Yeah, because when you do it to another man, you take their power away." And then Patrice started walking through like all that meant, like pimp moves, like touching a man's face, you touch a man's face, and we got really into it. And then that night I tried it on stage, and it worked so good. It was my first joke that worked on television that wasn't dirty. You know what cops hate? When you touch their faces. You can, if you want, you can hear young Bert Kreischer ripping off Dave Attell and pacing. But yeah.
Yeah, Patrice O'Neal, man, one of the best ever. Rest in peace.
One of the best, but one of the best. I got nothing.
Yeah.
He was a solid dude, and I absolutely loved him. And he taught me more about stand-up just watching him. I remember we did a show together, and I had like my set list written on a piece of paper. And he goes, "Oh, cool, let me see that." And he grabbed it and he just ripped it up. And he goes, "You're not that comic." He goes, "If you don't know it up here, you don't know it. Just go and tell it." And I went, "Oh, shit." And he's right. If I look at a set list and I recite it, there's no energy. But if I'm loose and flowing with it, yeah, we lived in Scotland together for like a month. Me, him, Rich Voss, and Ben Bailey, I think, came out a little later. And I spent every day. Rich golfed every day, and I just spent every day with Patrice.